and my setup is basically just gaiwan, which means lidded bowl in translation from Chinese. It's basically just a saucer with a cup on top with a lid, which actually doubles as a decanting device. So you can keep the leaves in with that, move it slightly depending on how fast you want it to pour. What else I use is a tea filter to keep out all the powder and whatever else dirt might be on Chinese tea. This is I don't know how to say, Wei Xiang Bei, which is an aroma cup. It's actually for sniffing, getting a nice robust aroma out of a cup from quickly evaporating water, but I don't use it much. Normal small teacup, and a fair cup, which is for decanting the tea into a single device instead of putting it into two different cups, because if you do that into two different cups, then the first one might have the top part of the tea, which will be lighter and not as flavorful, and then the second cup will get the stuff that was resting at the bottom, and that will be more potent, so you won't get a good. So this is a fair cup, a fairness cup, and that mixes all the flavor together, so you actually get the whole picture of the tea. And then this table, this comes off, but I got stuff on it, so I don't want to do that. Also opens up, and you see there's water in there right now. Also with that that part goes down to, well, I just have a wine bottle set up in a shoebox so it doesn't tip over. And yeah, and that collects all the water that you dump on the tea and rinse teaware with. Then you don't have to worry about dumping it in a container like this back here. Okay, so the first step in Gongfu and tea is to warm up all your teawares. Because if a tea comes out hot, out of like the gaiwan for instance, and then it hits a cold glass or a cold cup, then the flavor will actually change for the worse, really. So what you want to do first is just warm up everything sufficiently. You can tell I can mist and dump water wherever I want next to the table. Now that's already warm. This is also part of this whole session, this whole way of making tea is called Gongfu, which is Kung Fu tea brewing. And it's used to warm cups. And this rinsing is used to warm cups. It's also used to wash out dust, because you don't really want to wash your teaware, because if you get soap inside, then that smell won't really go away, and it will come out in the taste, and you really don't want soapy teas. Gongfu becomes more a way of tea than just a singular tea ceremony, because you don't take away your cups used for Gongfu and wash them in the sink with new antibacterial soap. You just rinse away the bad stuff. So I'll add some tea to this, some Gongfu Pu-erh, which is quickly fermented tea, made to resemble some semi-aged, really aged Pu-erh tea. That's about how much I'll add for Gongfu. It looks like it's not much, it's resting at the bottom, but as the Gongfu session goes on, you'll see that will actually open up and take up a lot of the volume of the gaiwan. So just like before, I'm gonna just pour hot water over the tea. Once really quickly, why I do this so quickly and don't fill up the gaiwan all the way, it's just I'm trying to rehydrate the tea a little bit, open up the chunks, and allow the water to kind of reach the inner parts of the tea. And then what most people find weirdest about Gongfu is that right now I'll pour it into my cup, and most people think, oh cool, he's going to drink it now, but no. What actually happens is you don't drink the first steep, because Chinese tea processing isn't perfect. It's not the most sanitary thing possible, so What we do, just because we're paranoid, is we rinse it off once. And since Gongfu Pu-erh is quickly fermented, not fermented over time, they actually spray water on it to aid the fermentation process. And I think that's just kind of a sketchy way to make tea, so I rinse it off twice. Rinsing twice gets rid of most of the stuff that will be sitting on top. And then also continues to warm up my cups. And yeah, think about using filters, it gets clogged, so all it really takes to unclog it is a quick rinsing. And now that I've rinsed really quickly once, that gets the tea a little hydrated again. And I've done my second rinsing round. This round is going to be the steeping round. And pretty much, I've realized that Pu-erh tea infuses pretty immediately. So, you notice I didn't have to wait for any time. Just a single flash infusion. And yeah, that doesn't seem so good, really. What I noticed as I pour it out is that lots of little broken pieces are coming out, which isn't from me breaking up the cake piece completely. And the smell is really dark and I don't know, can I say shadowy of a smell? I prefer lighter shoe. It looks like this one, from the darkness of this one, it looks like it's been really kind of fermented, composted. You can see what else isn't good is you can see how much gunk is at the bottom of that. Hopefully. And that's pretty gross, really. That might be the worst I've ever seen in a shoe. But that's the reason for the filter. This comes out about coffee black. And yeah, I'm not too excited about this one. It smells dark, looks dark. Normally what I like in shoe is some malty flavor, more crisp, sharp flavor, showing that it hasn't been overly fermented or composted. But this one smells slightly malty. And that just smells pretty dark. And drinking Pu-erh tea really in general, you want to, when you take a sip, you want to percolate it in your mouth, not only as you take the sip to cool off the tea, but also to aerate the tea after you've sipped it, like so. It has the same effect of wine drinkers swishing wine around their mouth. Get some oxygen back into the tea, brings out some flavors. In this case, right when this shoe hits your mouth, it's really dark and it does have a bit of malt in the taste. And if you leave it at that, then it's pretty basic of a tea. But as I percolate it in my mouth, I can taste more malt, higher notes of the malt. I can taste a lot of wet, dark, mulchy flavor, which is typical of a shoe, and it's not really bad, but it doesn't match the taste of Shang, which is like Pu-erh processed as green tea made to ferment over time. And there's the dirt swirling around the bottom of the cup. Don't usually drink that. Can if you want though. Then you can see how dark it is. The shoe I like is generally a dark red or a light brown, but not able to see the fish that actually reside in the bottom of the cup. Well, this one actually isn't bad so far. I'll do the same steeping for 8 times or so. 8 steeps for a Gongfu Pu-erh. And sometimes you can get up to 12, sometimes even more, but with this, we'll have to just see as it develops. First steep came off alright, and second steep is probably going to be muddier and more blending of the flavors. But I hope that maybe some more crisp flavors will show up later in the steepings. And I'll let you know about that.